Hello and welcome to the classic Hollywood movie you should know. I'm Nate Washburn. This week the movie is from 1944, Casanova Brown, starring Gary Cooper and Teresa Wright, directed by Sam Wood. So the story, Gary Cooper plays Casanova or Cas Brown. He is about to get married, and right before his wedding, we discover that he had been married before, but that first marriage was annulled. He gets a cryptic letter, finds out his first wife had been pregnant. She gave birth and is going to give the baby up for adoption. Cas decides he's going to kidnap the child so that the baby isn't raised by strangers. So I admit this is an obscure choice, but I stumbled on this movie on Amazon Prime. You can watch it right now. It's worth your time. And the reason that I watched it is I read the little synopsis and I couldn't help thinking of Raising Arizona, and also realizing that for a movie set in the 1940s, to have a storyline where a character is going to kidnap a baby so that it doesn't get adopted, it sort of blew my mind to see, because you think of the golden age of Hollywood and you think of the characters having these almost PG relationships and two separate beds, one foot on the floor. You couldn't really show that much sex due to the code, you couldn't swear. So this movie it seems like it snuck past the censors. To have a marriage get annulled, typically that means it's not consummated, but clearly it was consummated if Isabel, played by Teresa Wright, if she got pregnant. So having an annulled marriage, a pregnant divorcee, and Cas Brown kidnapping the baby, it blew my mind. And the cool thing with this movie is that there is no judgment. There's no people scolding these characters. There's no one blaming them for the marriage falling apart. You sympathize with both Cas and Isabel and what happens to them during this story. Now, the best part of this movie are definitely the performances by Gary Cooper as Cas and Teresa Wright as Isabel. And it's hard to undersell how big of a star Gary Cooper was during this time. He had just come off his Oscar-winning performance in Sergeant York and just was this fan favorite throughout the country. He's typically remembered today for the Westerns. He's this strong, silent type who takes his time. He almost kind of ambles when he walks, and he thinks before he speaks. And yet Cooper himself, he made a lot of comedies, and he's very adept at light comedy. This is a romantic comedy, and he is incredibly funny in this. And Teresa Wright is an actress. She's not as well remembered as like a Bette Davis or a Joan Crawford or a Greta Garbo, but she had a stretch in the 1940s of these performances in these movies that could rival any other actor in history. It's really amazing. Casanova Brown is her 5th movie. She had come from the New York theater scene. Her first movie was The Little Foxes. She followed that up with Mrs. Miniver and then The Pride of the Yankees. And for all 3 of those movies, she got Oscar nominations. Best Supporting Actress in The Little Foxes, Best Supporting Actress in Mrs. Miniver, and Best Actress in The Pride of the Yankees. Her first 3 movies, she got Oscar nominations. She won for Mrs. Miniver. The movie that followed The Pride of the Yankees was Shadow of a Doubt, one of the greatest Hitchcock movies ever made. Hitchcock himself said that was his personal favorite film that he ever directed. After Shadow of a Doubt, this film, Casanova Brown, and then she followed that with The Best Years of Our Lives, directed by William Wyler. Those first 6 films, I'd put those 6 films up against any other actors. Like, pick a stretch of 6 films, and it's tough to beat. What is really interesting about this movie, got this from Turner Classic Movies, is that the US premiere was August 23rd, 1944. However, the world premiere was August 8th, 1944, in Normandy, France. There were sort of makeshift theaters set up for US soldiers who were in France. This is only 2 months after D-Day. They were the first people to see Casanova Brown. So if you're a fan of romantic comedies, if you like classic comedies, anything like that, check out Casanova Brown from 1944. It's a very funny, very interesting, very forward-thinking movie, and it is this week's classic Hollywood movie you should know. I'm Nate Washburn. Keep watching.